which is essentially a dating app targeted specifically for programmers and web developers. We came up with this idea. We came up with this idea after brainstorming ideas for potential music apps, which you wanted to use either geolocation, such as finding new venues in your area targeted towards music, or new users in your area who kind of have the same music preferences as you do. But instead, we thought, why not come up with an app that targets dating, or targets coders, because that's who we essentially are going to be, and kind of make it some type of dating app. So we also kind of looked it up, and there are no websites that do this in particular. We found, obviously, there's Farmers Mingle that targets farmers, and we found one that's called Geek to Geek, which targets geeks, but not one particularly for programmers. So that's where we came up with this idea. Now I'm going to hand it off to talk about the design process.
Hi, I'm Racquel. So for the design with the layout, I went with Materialize. It seemed the easiest of some of the frameworks to work with. I tried Foundation first? That was a nightmare, so we stuck with this, but I like it. And this is the layout. You can see here, we made that little robot guy as our little logo. And we went with camel case for ProgrammedToLove. And then the login features, what I did with that is with OAuth and GitHub authentication, I got the token and key from GitHub, plugged it in, and with Passport made it work. And do you want to talk about the mock-ups?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we don't have a president, right? No. Okay. Yeah, maybe we should get that set up. Yeah, so initially we had a lot of different features we were considering for this application. We wanted to basically sort of reflect the layout that you see in GitHub. So it's kind of like a send off of that. So the idea would be that you'd be able to see in your user profile a bio. You would also be able to see, you fill out a survey, a questionnaire, and kind of find your matches that way, a la OkCupid. We also were going to have photos, as well as a repo, your repos getting pulled to GitHub. Right. Yeah, so I'm just going to tap through. So this was initially an idea of what we wanted to sketch out. As you can see, right here on the left would be your user information, your username, and all your credentials. So we have your bio, your photos, your featured repos, all in different tabs, as well as a chat tab where you can chat with a match. And this is just an example of a match setup. That actually ended up changing quite a bit, which we'll show you in our demo. Okay, and you mentioned the login. All right.
Similar to what Lewis was saying, our profile page is set up to resemble GitHub. And instead of the photo tab that he had showed, we ended up making a personal bio and a repos tab, which pulled the repos from each of the users once they logged in with GitHub. Originally, I had a lot of trouble doing this, but we finally was able to make it work last night, as well as a chat tab. And we did this using the GitHub API in order to pull those repos. The chat function was used through Firebase, and like Lewis said, was to chat with other users that were online. And then we added a Find New Lovers tab at the top, which originally was a modal to search through and filter out other users of the app, but it turned into an actual search page, which Lewis will talk about.
Yep, absolutely. So this was the initial mock-up, again, for the search page. As you can see, on the left you'd have checkboxes to decide if you'd want to find a male, female, or we also set a category for non-binary individuals as well. We also can filter by front-end, back-end, or full stack. And then once you've done that, it would actually pull up those respective people. And then from there, if you actually liked a user, we thought it was kind of cheeky to do. You could send them a pull request, and and that would actually then their like counter would be going up in their account. So in terms of the actual layout, this is what we ended up pulling off. Right now, the way we have it set up, we don't exactly have it linked to GitHub so you can actually search through a bunch of different users, but we do have sort of a test idea we can go through for our demo. All right.
You want to talk about, can we go to the code for a second?
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm Steve. I was in charge of the database and registration and some of the login process and the routing, basically the back end. So one of the challenges was we had to pull data from the GitHub OAuth and also from user input during the registration process. And initially we just had the OAuth stuff in GitHub's database that we were pulling, and then we had our own database for the user input. But that wouldn't allow for searches, so I had to figure out how to combine the two and push them all into our own database, which was a bit of a challenge. So I can show you here. So basically, we're going to show you during the demo, but you get authorization to log in to GitHub, which then will take you into this function. And if you get a response that you were authorized by GitHub, I then grab all the information and I put them into variables here, and I put them into the user create that's linked to SQLize. And then it takes you to a registration page to get what the user actually has to actually input, like their age and their bio and whatnot. So if we go to here, this is where all the registration happens, and I actually want the JavaScript. Okay, so I'll grab everything from the registration modal, which you'll see in a minute, and I push it all into this new user object. And then I'm posting it over to the same place where the GitHub went, and I combine it all and then push it into a JAWSDB database. So you can pull pretty much absolutely anything you want to know about somebody. You'd be pretty surprised what the information that you can get on people. So that's as far as the routing. Do you want to do the demo and actually show? All right, we're gonna have her. We're gonna have Neena log in, or sign. You have to sign up. Yeah, we're gonna have her sign up and show you the process.
So you click sign up, and it will ask you if you want to Yeah. It's gonna.
Yeah, that should be okay.
Yeah. Let's click agree. It's gonna be here. So once you click authorize application, I'll have to fill out this profile as I'm not already in our system. So here are the choices for us to choose what we are. I am a female, or however I want to define myself. I'll say I'm front end and I want to be matched with a male and a male full stack. So I'll click that. Click register, and then it'll take you to your profile page, which is the GitHub layout. So you'll see that it pulled this information from both GitHub and our database. It pulled the personal bio from the information that I just entered. It will show all of my repos that I've ever done. So this is all that I've created in this course. And then there's a chat tab, which is it's working. And if I just typed, hey, then you can see that it adds my username, and then it chats with the rest of the people who are online. So, and here's also the search feature, which brings us to this page.
Yep. So right now, the way it's built, if I wanted to find a female who was a front-end developer, I know I'm logged in as Neena, so it's kind of weird. But yeah, so I'd be able to actually find somebody, and then if I liked, I could send her a pull request. Same deal if I wanted a male backend, or if I wanted a female full stack developer. That's basically how that would work. And then from there, you can log out, and this would redirect you back to your front page. Is there something else we need? Yeah, there's more presentation. cool. So we talked about, do you want to talk more about the JSON and sort of technology?
Technology-wise, we use SQL and Express. We used Firebase for the chat, and we used OAuth and Passport, which we used to authenticate everybody for the login for the GitHub authorization as well as the registration. Is there like a slide for this?
I think that's about it.
That's right. And we use the controller for all our routing as opposed to API routes and things like that, which was a bit of a challenge, and there was a lot of redirecting going on, automatic redirecting, which took quite a while to figure it all out. But we got it working.
So we have a couple areas for future development that we're considering. So right now, the way that the search page is coded, everything that I've put into the JavaScript is hard-coded, so it's not actually dynamically pulling from the database or pulling from GitHub. So the next step would actually be trying to integrate some of the information we have in our API and GitHub into that function to actually be able to search other users. Also, in our repos tab, if you actually click on a repo, it's going to send you a JSON as opposed to redirecting you to that repo. That would be another next step that we'd be considering, is actually having a redirect to the specific repo. Also, the way that we're passing through the application is just through a regular registration. So you're only seeing your profile the way it's being pulled up. There's no way to actually jump in and see somebody else's profile that's already in the system. We had considered a photo section, just a tab on your profile page in the beginning, and we nixed that. But that would actually be something nice, because that's something that you'd see in a lot of other dating applications, especially online with OkCupid. Our chat currently is kind of set up kind of like a Facebook wall, where you can just kind of dump everything in one place. So it'd be nice to move from there to a kind of one-to-one conversation with that individual user. And another feature that we talked about that seemed kind of cool when we were brainstorming was the idea of when you match with somebody doing a coding challenge that would then determine how well you guys work together. And then from there, the idea would be, right now the way we were building it, it's kind of a dating site, but there's so much more of a wider scope to it. This could also be a way to just match developers with other developers if someone's looking to do a project and they're looking for someone with a certain skill set. So we can actually pair developers beyond the romantic aspect that we're considering. All right, is that everything? All right, that's all.